Greetings, Moonlight Citizens. Man on the Moon here with yet another episode of Moonlight Kingdom Podcast. On this one, we'll be covering many topics of Marvel, the DC variety, the Ayer variety, releasing the Ayer cut, or, well, just pretending it doesn't exist, as we all have come accustomed to. Anyway, I am your man on the moon. This is the Moonlight Kingdom Podcast, episode 16, 17, unsure, buddy. Blast off in 3, 2, 1.
On Wednesday, actually Wednesday slash today, early morning, I watched Gen V. Just binged it straight. It's fucking amazing.
Oh, look.
Pretty crazy.
Oh, crazier than the boys.
Equally as crazy, considering that, given that it's part of the universe, they have cameos. But I can definitely tell that they didn't skimp out on the budget. Like they definitely, stayed true to the universe and its mechanics, rules. It was a solid 8 out of 10. Solid 8 out of 10.
I can see why it's. I mean, I haven't watched it yet, but I don't know. But it's definitely something to look into.
Do you know where to watch it?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm gonna give you the link.
But still, man, just this. Have you been following the Loki show?
Yes, sir. Yes, indeed. Also, another brilliant writing prompt. I think it's the one thing that Phase 6 is doing well. I mean, everyone dogs on She-Hulk, man. I personally like She-Hulk. I don't know why everyone hates it so much. I liked it, and I don't really get the hate for it. But yeah, I haven't followed season 2. It's pretty crazy, and I know that it, hopes to connect to Deadpool 3, TVA shenanigans and shit like that. But yeah, I'm loving it. What about you?
I'm digging it, man. I'm really on board with the show and what it's done with the characters and the, spaghettification of everything. Like, there was that.
Oh yeah, did you see those Easter eggs? Sorry to cut you. They continue that whole DB Cooper shit with Casey. He's that infamous.
Oh yeah, broke out of records. Yeah. Yeah, that was
Pretty cool.
I wonder if, was that the timeline the TVA found him in, or was that just like a new timeline he wound up in after everybody got reset? Like,
I think the way it works is the lives that they picked or whatever. I don't think they actually picked them. It's more like they found their lives currently happening, and they just kind of assimilated into that place and time where they belong in. I think Casey is a man from the 60s, like originally, and he was probably taken in an original capacity by the TVA or Kang. I don't think, because now the issue is, if you have to think to yourself, okay, so did Loki cause Frank to be the infamous Alcatraz escapee, or was it He Who Remains and Ravonna? Like, who originally plucked him out of the timeline? Was it Loki creating a paradox, or was it He Who Remains? I don't know. It's pretty interesting, especially considering that on Reddit there've been like these theories suggesting that the timekeepers are a combination of Loki, Mobius, and I think Sylvie. Because when you look at the way that they look, the one timekeeper has horns for Loki, the other has a mustache, and the other is a woman. So it feels like they were the original, like, I guess, conception of what the timekeepers are, and He Who Remains either probably took that and worked with it, or this one is timely but not really. It's pretty interesting to like kind of think, especially because
yeah.
that would mean that Loki is the one who created hated the TVA, and it's just a revolving, like a perpetual circle of time.
What weirded me, speaking of timely, dude, I was so surprised when he went through the door and he just freaking spaghetti. I was like, what the hell?
He just spaghettified him. He might not be dead. He might just be mangled in time.
Yeah, but because, like, I was caught off guard because they were like, okay, this is the first version of Kang, like the earliest version, you know, Victor Timely, that's who he was before he became the Kang we know. And for him to spaghettify, it's like, well, damn, where are we going to go from here now? Because he was supposed to be the original.
I mean, think of it this way. Given his temporal aura, and when he built that time-weaving thing, what if it just kind of assimilated him into a specific point in time that he was intended to be at, given he is he who remains, or rather one of the many variants of his scattered throughout time? Because obviously Victor wasn't supposed to be from the 1800s. I think the original He Who Remains, like the first one, as per the comics, existed in the 31st century, and then he became Kang, and then Council of Kangs, and then he goes for war, and then He Who Remains Kang decided to scatter a few of his, a few of his remaining variants who had become evil throughout time, just to create contingencies for himself if he were to ever be thwarted.
Yeah, that seems like the likely way things are going, but at the same time, it goes against the story he said in, like, when we first saw him, and he was like, you know, we found each other, and for a while everything was cool, but then a couple of them were evil. That's why he had to get rid of them. So he decided to get rid of them all and then make the sacred timeline. So for there to...
Exactly.
So...
But are they already gone, or are they banished and separated from time?
That's what I'm thinking. Like, the existence of the sacred timeline and TVA pruning anybody trying to deviate would surely mean, like, okay, surely all those other Kangs and stuff are gone now. Surely he got rid of them. But, like, once he goes, we see in Quantumania that they're not gone. They were just somewhere else, and now they're back. They're even like, you know, the banished one is no more, and, you know, they're all coming together in that
Is it like Colosseum, actually? Is it like in a place stationed off in time?
Could be.
Because you have like Ramadan, you know, you have Kang Prime, and the other version, you know, the different versions of it.
Wait. Can't be.
Yeah.
I'm saying, like, Kang Prime. Wouldn't Kang the Conqueror from Quantumania be Kang Prime? Would that be He Who Remains? Oh, okay. Yeah.
Because I feel like his story, given that it's such a central focus, he has to be like the original Kang, who is from the 31st century, who is a descendant of, you know, Reed Richards. I think he's the one who started that war, given he had the most precious thing that was needed in that war, which was the firepower and also that time core. Because no other Kang seemed to have it. And it begs the question, why?
Yeah, I just, it's annoying that the way they booked that Kang, dude. I mean, the trailers made him seem like this Thanos level threat, man. Thanos level threat.
Yep.
And he's taken down by ants. There's the argument of, these were super advanced ants, like thousands of years of evolution. They're still ants, man. Just,
Andre, how much stronger can an ant live compared to its own weight?
It's like,
maybe it's like, given how big they are, relative to their size, they're about as strong as Hulk, you know? It could just be that. We don't know.
they can live
But
like...
still, it being ants is just kind of dumb.
Yeah, man, I get it. It's Ant-Man, and, you know, ants are his thing, but, dude, like, This guy's supposed to be a threat to the multiverse. Thanos was a threat to the universe. This is a multiverse threat being taken down by ants.
Okay.
Just
So here's the real breakdown. Ants have been documented to be able to carry up to 20 times their own body weight. If a human could lift 20 times their body weight, that would be 4,000 pounds. So, given about, let's say, a 1-ton ant, right? Let's just say that they're like 1 ton. They could lift about 20,000 tons. So they're pretty strong. Yeah, it's not bad, but it's just dumb that it's ants. Why couldn't it have been like random quantum mania monsters and shit like that?
the fact that he was defeated at all, just not just that, but he was defeated by Ant-Man. No disrespect to Ant-Man,
They had
but
that
come
wrap
on,
up like, in the last 3 minutes.
dude.
Scott Black is not that strong. I don't know why because you would think that the Kang suit augments his strength as per the comics, the cartoons, everything. Here he's cracking up with that guy who can barely lift like 250 pounds in a bench press, you know?
Dude, he got pieced up. Like, his face was all bloody, but like, he should have been doing way more damage than that. Look how big Jonathan Majors is. Forget the suit augmenting him. Look how big Jonathan Majors is. He should have been killing him. Like,
And even look at like Victor Timely. In the show, he's shown as like a nerd, you know, like a scrappy little bullied guy. We can see your muscles under your lab coat, my guy.
yeah.
You're not bullying anyone. You can beat up anyone right now in the 19th century. I don't know why you're running away from niggas. Like they're gonna kill you. Beat them the fuck up.
Oh, jeez. And this is, what bothers me is like Marvel. Thing is, when I came out of Quantumania, I'm thinking, okay, you know, Scott defeated a variant of Kang. This is not the dude who's going to be the villain in Kang Dynasty. But old Feige was like, nope. The Ant-Man in the villain in Quantumania is the Kang that we're going to see in Kang Dynasty. So, damn. That's disappointing.
Because in Dynasty, it seems like whatever is happening with the council we saw at the end of Quantumania, it seems like they're ready to do something, given that this Kang, he's not defeated, he's kind of like, where did he go? Because he went somewhere, but he was in the quantum realm.
There are theories.
Where does he go?
There's theories that you know, since the quantum realm is itself like a tiny universe existing in like the teeny tiny particles, that he just shrank down even more into another like thing existing on itself. But that sounds absurd, man. That sounds ridiculous. It's more likely that that drive that he got sucked into just took him to another point in time, or like another universe or something, as opposed to
Because
yeah.
they did, I think they used his core to make everything self-destruct, and then that transported him. That blast.
Yeah, it's likely he's just in another universe somewhere. But yeah.
I just don't understand how the hell that was tied to Deadpool 2, like the whole Loki thing. I don't know.
I mean, I was watching Loki, and then there was this scene where it cut to like Mobius on the jet ski, and I'm like, all right, finally, we get to see dude on a jet ski. No, it's just him in a store. Oh,
He's a salesman. My biggest thing. Oh wait, shit. Yeah, George, this Cincinnati. Apparently, it's out. I didn't know that.
I ain't seen it yet. Yeah.
Oh, it is out. It came out today, this morning. Okay, we both need to watch it. It's fine. We'll speak about it after we both watched it. But I think looking at like Mobius, I would have thought he was like an 80s, you know, athlete, and he's like the best skier. Or maybe maybe not an athlete, maybe like a rich guy from the 80s, you know, who has like a, you know, over Wall Street type of Lambo, and he loves jet skis. He just loves the wind in his hair. No, he's some fucking guy from 2022. Are you kidding me? 2022 of all years? I don't know.
He don't look like it though, dude. I mean, just that hair, the mustache, just he doesn't look like a dude from now. That's
One thing that was very crazy to me is, I mean, I get it, right? People in the MCU are very smart. They're capable of like making Iron Man suits and, learning magic. Ouroboros, a man from 1994, was able to create a TVA portal in 18 months. I mean, get it, he's smart, but come on. If you gave that handbook to Hank Pym in 1991, right, after he left S.H.I.E.L.D., would you also be able to do a time door? Like, what are the instructions? Like, what is the instructions in? Does it tell you, like, split atoms and create a black hole? Like, how? It gives you the instructions. But how? How the fuck do you go from a book to a portal?
well, think about it. A lot of those materials probably don't exist too. Like the technology necessary to like do this stuff.
It's probably why they mentioned the fact that Ouroboros was, besides an author, an astrophysicist. Like, okay, that kind of lends more credence to him being able to do that. But how, with 1994 materials, aren't you like limited by the tech of your time? Apparently not. Not in the MCU, at least.
I don't know, man. It's
Even
very
the fact that he got those concepts and he was right. He was right about it not being about time, but being about fiction. What? I don't know, man. I guess he's just naturally brilliant.
it's the only way we
One of the
can.
most underrated minds in the MCU, given that even in the, sacred timeline, he's about as coherent as any other big mind in the universe. Chaka, Hank Pym, Stark, both Starks. Like, he's just that brilliant. But he's so underrated, and he probably died an unrecognized man in his brilliance. Just the fact that he never even worked for S.H.I.E.L.D. or had any ties to any, central intelligence organization. Nothing. He's just a guy. And he lived from the outskirts of some fucking abandoned factory. Weird. Interesting, but weird.
It is, though. I remembered why when I was watching like the Loki show. I remembered why like I didn't like Sylvie towards the end. Like I was thinking like as the show like season 2 was beginning and shit, I'm like, oh, okay, whatever. But like as the later episodes came in and we saw like she's working at McDonald's and she's cool with how everything is, even though like she does not know what's going on back at the TVA. But it's like from her perspective, as long as like her like timeline she's in at the McDonald's is okay, she couldn't give a fuck about anyone else. That's what I'm like, man.
Which is weird. I mean, I get her nobility in the fact that, okay, everyone deserves their own individual lives, and their lives don't get to be dictated and picked by the TVA or Kang. But dude, the universe is literally about to unravel. Do you not understand how serious it is and how important it is that we need to get everyone back to where they are and fix TVA? Otherwise, all of reality goes kaboom.
Including your little McDonald's. Just
She's kind of selfish, if anything. But at least now Loki's a time god.
Yeah.
His power sets.
Drifting in and out. Yeah.
Because time slipping. Conjure, in the last episode, he made it back to the point in time in which the loom, that's the word, in which the loom was about to explode. That's where he time shifted back, right?
Yeah, it wasn't. The way in which he traveled isn't traditional time travel. Like, there's a word for it though, because he didn't use.
Time slipping.
Yeah. He went back in, like, he sent his consciousness back as opposed to physically traveling back like the TVA normally would. And like that.
But I guess in this case, given that he materialized in front of Mobius's jet ski shop, I don't think there was really a Loki there at that point in time. And his consciousness just moved to that one. I think in some sense, he's clocked, and because I feel like there are multiple methods of time traveling. You can either have a Kang chair with the core, can either be Tony Stark and have a Mobius strip inverted and travel through the quantum realm through time. You can either fucking, probably run so fast that you can time travel. We haven't explored that yet, given that there's no speedsters in the MCU currently, like besides Makari and super speedsters. And then there's also TVA time travel, which is another portal-based time travel, but it uses its remote. And that's a whole heap of complicated tech mechanics we don't understand. And then now, the newest version of time travel. Okay, technically, since Deadpool 3 is part of the MCU now, Cable's time traveling thingy is technically now part of that MCU time traveling, method. But then now you have Loki, who uses no tech and just purely uses his, his life essence. Because how did Loki even start time slipping? It's because he got transported through time using He Who Remains Tempad. That's the thing. It was that thing fucked up his time equilibrium. And then it forced him to correct his time by jumping in the loom. But that didn't even work. It was a temporary fix. Once time really began unraveling, his time slipping returned. For some reason, no one else can time slip. And he can just now hone that in and control it and go wherever he needs to be, because apparently it's not about the time. It's not about when, it's about who. So he thinks about it and then he time travels. That's why he thought about Sylvie and he time traveled that point between, when they were in Ouroboros' fucking house or whatever you want to call it. And then he time slipped just before they all began dying. And then he did it again, and then now he's in the TVA. So he has clocked his own new method of time travel, which again has not been fully explained how and why it happened. I mean, we know why it's happening. He went through the tempad and he remains. But why is it only his tempad? Is his tempad bound by the rules of time that the other TVA for the soldiers' tempads are? Because it seems like with their one, they can only time travel to other places in reality in terms of timelines. You can travel to 1652, they can travel to 1996, they can travel to 2009, 2012, but they can't travel through the TVA. Seems like it has a limiter or like a block that it prevents them from time traveling in between that area, which was again a lie. Oh, this space not bound by time. It is, but only Kang's tempad can do it. Yours can't. So I guess that fucked up his time. But the answer is why. Does that tempad have a version of Kang's time core hidden inside of it? Or Ouroboros build that in that small tempad? Or is Ouroboros' tempad just like the TVA soldiers one? Which one did he build? Begs the question. I mean, it was destroyed because it unraveled into spaghetti. And Frank wanted to go and steal money from banks. But then, which one can do that and which one can't do that? It's weird.
Certainly it is, but it does make sense that Kang would give his soldiers limits in terms of like the technology they have access to.
My question is, and this will probably be in the finale because I'm opening it right now. Spoiler alert, it's 56 minutes long, so it's bound to be a doozy. I also haven't watched it yet. But I think, remember the scene where Ravonna and Miss Minutes saw a past, like a flashback kind of thing where they were together in the time room and they spoke about the war and how they had to wipe their memories. Will that ever come back in the fold in the finale? It might. I don't know.
It has to. I mean, it doesn't seem like they would put that there and do nothing with it.
Exactly. It's like a weird loose end. So maybe that might be answered today. And even like Sylvie, like, why was she so comfortable with everything just being as it is? Why is she listening to music in a weird 70s like record shop? Like, why does she even pick the 70s? Like, nothing makes sense. Why? once being on Earth, you'd be like, yo, I missed you guys. What the fuck is going on? I mean, I get it, sure, there's no Chris Hemsworth, there's no Anthony Hopkins, there's no this and that, so they can't even show that. But it's like, it's not breaking the character, but it's so strange. I mean, Sylvie literally lost her family as a kid. We are to assume that only Sylvie's gender is the different thing in her timeline, which would mean Saul is probably still a man, or maybe he's a girl. But Odin is still Odin. Do you not miss Odin? Or have you just lived so long that you just don't miss him anymore? He doesn't even come into your mind. I mean, you're literally on Earth in the 70s. Everything exists. Everything you lost exists. Do you not want to go there? She doesn't care.
Yeah, it definitely. Oh man, that character. There are moments where I'm like, yeah, I can in like the season 1 where I could be like, I see your point, I see what you're trying to do. The TVA took from you, and you want to take from them. But it's like there was a point in that last episode where He Who Remains told them that, you kill me, like it's gonna light up my variant, and he said, you think I'm bad? Like, just wait till you see the people that I'm locking up. Like, they're really bad. Like, they're gonna show up if you kill me. She knew this and killed him anyway.
Exactly, she's dumb. But I guess she was consumed by revenge, just like, any other MCU character who's fucked up like that.
And thing is, at the end of the episode, she saw the freaking timelines unraveling. She saw all this chaos, and then she's just like, and the fact that next time we see her, she's working at McDonald's shows she saw the timeline unraveling. She knew crazy stuff was happening, and she did not care. Absolutely did not care.
Now, just because her reality is dying, she's just a selfish person. She's not Loki at all. Like, Loki's a good guy. I know in the last episode, she made it seem as if he was selfish wanting to fix everything. But I don't understand why he didn't just say, listen, Sylvie, apart from me missing my friends, reality is literally unraveling. I saw it happen. We need to fix it. It doesn't make sense why you didn't mention that. Because that would have set her straight. Because it took her having to see it to then be like, okay, it's fucked. And then also, where the fuck did she get that tempad from? She has her own tempad? I mean, I get it. But where did she get it from?
It's more than likely she took one off of He Who Remains' body, but like...
But then, okay, think about this. Last season, she's the one who caused Loki's time slipping. Because she opened HRW's tempad to pick Loki into a past version of TVA, where statues of Kang were still prominent. In case you didn't remember him, no one in TVA knew who he was. They probably just knew that he was a Loki. No. They didn't even know he was a Loki variant, which is strange. Why would the TVA 400 years ago not know what a Loki variant looks like? I mean, Loki would have been alive. He would have been like a young adult. Hey, man, so they're like, what, 1,500 years old? He would have been 1,000. They thought he was an analyst. I mean, he's wearing an analyst uniform, granted. But it's so strange how he time traveled back then, and things were so different. What happened in those 400 years?
I think them not knowing who he is was due to the fact that the TVA mainly investigates variants, and 400 years ago, Loki, as far as they knew, hadn't done anything to warrant their attention. That's why, like, they didn't know him at that point. Yeah.
Because the TVA is apparently, like, the way they explain everything, it seems like they operate on all spectrums of time. So for me, 400 years ago, they could have easily have been privy to the Battle of New York. Because they're just time traveling constantly. If they can time travel to 1652 in what we presume is the MCU year of 2023, then why couldn't they do that 400 years ago and know who certain people were? Or maybe Hero just wiped them at that time, so they hadn't seen, maybe they had experienced a Loki variant before, but after they were whole mind wiped. It seems like they just became these dumb people who only knew the confines of their reality, which is the TVA.
Seems like it.
And I think Sylvie probably has HRW's jetpack, given that she opened it after she opened it before she killed him to kick him into the past version of the TVA, and I think she kept it. But then why isn't she time slipping? Because that's what caused it. She has it, and she clearly used it to get from A to B, and she clearly used it to go back to that point. Okay, she used it to go back to 1994, and yet she's just fine. Is Loki just the exception? Is he like the chosen one of reality?
I have a theory. I have a theory. I don't know if anybody else has thought of this, but I have a theory. And it has to do with the Secret Saturdays. If you remember, did you watch Secret Saturdays?
Yeah, loved it.
Alright, there was this episode.
10 years ago.
Yeah.
Actually, over 10 years ago of me watching it. Let me show it to you. But yeah, carry on.
I'm saying there was this episode with Secret Saturdays. They met the versions of them from another, basically like the opposite versions of them. You know, like yeah.
That's 2009.
Oh shit.
Crazy, right?
Yeah, man.
Yeah, time is weird. Anyway, you were saying?
There was this episode of the Saturdays where there was like this opposite version of the Saturdays, you know, like a twisted evil version from another universe. Like,
Oh, okay.
and they came into like the main universe with the main Saturdays, and their being there, and eventually like our universe Saturdays and the anti-universe Saturdays, they fought it out, and it started to mess with reality. And this led to like the Saturdays realizing, okay, since they are of this universe, they are matter. But the other Saturdays are from a different universe, coming into this one, become antimatter. Matter and antimatter cannot mix without seriously messing up the world as we know it. And that's what I think is going on here. You see what I'm saying?
So, the Secret Mondays, I think that's what they're called.
Yeah.
So the Mondays clash with the Saturdays and create dark matter?
Essentially, it's like that thing about the same matter can't occupy the same space at the same time.
Okay, so then how does that now lead into what's happening in Loki?
Well, that's what I'm saying. Like Loki, from that point where he was in He Who Remains and he gets launched into that time point in the TVA, I think the reason he keeps glitching out and time slipping is because from being in that universe where time wasn't a thing to being sent back into a time that he has no business being in, like he is antimatter, and the timeline at that point is like reacting to him. He's antimatter and everything around him is matter. Like that's yeah.
So because Sylvie didn't step back into the TVA 400 years ago, her matter wasn't disrupted.
Yeah.
So this is purely about going into the TVA's reality before Kang did everything that he did to make it what it is now. Because I feel like in the modern day TVA, no one knows.
It's like, yeah. It feels, but yeah, you're right. It's less of an origin because we have these already established characters in there, like, you know, your Metamorpho and things. But like, I look at that character list and I'm like, okay, if Metamorpho is here, then that means like the rest of the outsiders are here, right? Like we're gonna see Katana and Static Shock and like.
They even have Mr. Terrific.
Yeah.
That is crazy enough on its own.
Mr. Terrific. I'm just like, oh, okay, he's here. Then surely, like, anybody can be in this universe. Anybody. Like, he's not Okay, let me put it like this. Mr. Terrific was in the Arrowverse, right? And when he cropped up there, it's like, okay, yeah. Yeah. So when he crops up in a show like the Arrowverse or something like that, it's like, okay, makes sense he would be here, as like a street level dude. But to have him in a mainline DCU movie,
He's not that.
I'm not saying he is. I'm saying on the show. That's like,
Yeah.
yeah.
The show is limited by that. That's the problem.
Yeah. I'm saying, yeah. He does work in that context on the show, but him being here in this DCU movie shows like, okay, he's been bumped up to the status we may know him as in the comics or in the AU. Yeah.
Exactly. So, and even with Hawkgirl, that's obviously going to include static areas. It's going to include Carter. It's going to include mutation. Like, it's going to have so many more interesting and insightful aspects that we've never seen because they were too scared to take a chance with bizarre characters. Now we have fucking Metamorpho, played by, of course, the ever so fantastic, what's his name?
Anthony Carrigan.
I love this guy.
He was on Gotham. Yeah, he was Zaz.
Gotham and other shows as well. He kind of plays the same character every time.
Yeah.
But it just works. It works. I don't care. Like, it just works for him. And he would be a brilliant man.
What did you think of him as Victor Zaz, though? Not like the Zaz we know in the comics all cut up and stuff, but like, pre-Batman Zaz.
Eccentric sassiness of him.
Yeah.
Because you very much had the sense that he can chop you up into 25 pieces in a minute. But he'll insult what you're wearing, and then he'll tell you to pick a best size before killing you. Like, he's sassy. He has personality in this. Not just, a raging psychopath who's confined to Arkham and battles Batman on a daily. Like, he has a real personality. You're able to feel bad for him. You're able to laugh with him. You're able to, laugh at his jokes and shit. I like that. I like when characters are more expressive than what they're originally meant to be. It shows that as much as you are this monster and a villain, you're also human. Or you also have a soul. You don't feel soulless. And that's why I hated a lot of the DCEU's, showings, is that they just lacked soul.
Yeah.
Need the soul back in superhero movies.
I mean, we could have gotten it with David Ayer's soulful drama, as he calls it, in the Suicide Squad, but I don't know about that.
Think about that.
The soulful
Does
drama.
he think he has a magnum opus of it? Does he think that's the next Snyder Cut? And if it is, why hasn't no one campaigned hard enough to make it happen? No one cares. They don't believe him.
I'm like, bruh, really? Suicide Squad your cut of Suicide Squad is a soulful drama.
How much more soulful can it get? Jeez. We have Diablo's backstory. That's pretty, okay. Ever so slightly touching. Makes you feel bad for him. But not really. He's done some more fucked up shit. What can you actually have to make it compelling?
Yeah. Plus, even with Diablo in the movie, it's there's this, they want us to see his character as because when you first see him, he's in that chamber and he's nah, I'm not that guy anymore. I'm gonna die in peace before I use my powers again. But then they show footage of him in the jail and he roasted everyone in the yard. What?
Do you want to feel sorry for him or do you want to hate him? Pick one.
Yeah. Dude, this. Oh, it was so. Plus, there was that scene in the bar where they're all sitting there and he gives his backstory. One day he got so mad and his fire got out of control and he killed his wife and kids. And he's like, he regrets it and he's mournful and he's sorry, but like, really? You expect me to really...
As it is.
Yeah, like, dude, if this is the dude you want us to see him as, like a guy who regrets what he's done, he sees his powers as a curse, then have him be that. Don't show him like roasting a yard full of prisoners, because that happened after he killed his wife and kids. If he was really remorseful and shit, he would try to avoid that. Like,
yeah, why would you do that again?
shit.
Yeah, it makes no sense.
But yeah, like just it was. Oh, what else didn't make sense? That scene, when they confront Enchantress, like they're as a united front, and he walks up, he's like, "These my people right here. I ain't gonna let you hurt them." Like, what are you talking about? You've known them like a day. Now they're like, "These my people right here."
Like, what people? You have a long bond with your prisoner, and then you fucking find alive.
Oh shit, dude.
And you kill them on a whim. Like, what the fuck?
Like, dude, the scene before he like transforms, he's like talking to Flag, and he's like, and the Flag's telling him like, try to get him in that corner, and Diablo's like, I lost one family, I won't lose another. Like, what the hell? They're family now?
Since when? Why do you care about them?
Like, bruh, they don't even. I don't think he even talks to anybody other than Will Smith's Deadshot until that scene at the bar. Like, dude.
Yeah, like, oh, one convo with this guy, this piece of shit Luke, this bad father, and you're changed? Get the fuck out of here.
Oh shit, dude. Like, just that movie, man. Like, I don't know what David Ayer has got going on, but like, soulful drama. Just I laugh whenever I hear that, man. Like, if you gonna make this a soulful drama, okay, whatever, whatever you say, man. Just.
I think maybe what happened was he was trying to convince Being Six, believe him, to push, hashtag the Ayer cut. But like, let's be honest, man. You're known for action. Like, there's you have some good writing credits under your belt. You got Fury. You got Training Day. But like, soulful. I don't know about.
What was soulful about Training Day, dog? Just
maybe like poetic justice wise, maybe. But I don't know about soulful.
let's be real, man. Like the Tank movie, like Fury, it had its moments. Like those characters, like you did feel for them by the end. But soulful,
exactly.
Nah.
But not soulful. It's not fucking Pride and Prejudice.
Yeah.
Like, come on.
And Training Day is a fantastic movie, but soulful? Nah.
It's not soulful. It might be like, it might bring you feelings of, wow, man, criminal industrial complex is pretty wild. But you're not going to cry or feel like very bad at the end of Training Day.
Plus,
you're going to think, well,
yeah.
God has comeuppance.
Plus, that's mainly down to Denzel, dude. Like, how much of that is David Ayer? Like,
a lot of it. Like, imagine if it was just like random white man Kevin Costner.
I mean,
he's a good actor, but it's Kevin Costner.
That movie doesn't work if Alonzo is a white guy, because there's that scene where he looks over and he's like, my nigga. Like, that scene. The movie.
He's a character, and a lot of that, again, is Denzel riffing. He's a brilliant, riffer. He's a brilliant master of, improvisation and making the character his own thing. If Training Day had, Kevin Costner, it would have been just a random movie about cops and corruptness.
Yeah. There's a load of those. There's way more of those than you would imagine. Like, we don't... Yeah.
Exactly.
until that point, Denzel had never played a bad guy. So going in blind in that movie and you see him, you think, okay, he's like, Denzel's a cop, he's a good guy. And it isn't until he like pulls a gun and starts capping fools that you're like, oh damn, this is not what I was expecting, but it's still good, you know?
Like there are very few performances of like bad people that are so amazing they get acclaim. Like you're not gonna copy the magic of Christoph Waltz or like fucking Denzel or Joe Pesci. It's very hard to capture that once in a lifetime performance. You're not gonna repeat it.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that statement. As if you look at, let's take Scarface as an example. Al Pacino in Scarface, you can't see anyone else playing that role. Like just exactly, it's just that. So, and if you did swap someone else into that role, it's like it wouldn't feel right. It's like, it just, so what now? Like, so what? There's this dude, he's like a drug dealer, and like, that's it. There's not a lot going on.
Yeah.
But Al Pacino brings something to that, and this intensity that he has to his roles that he brings to this movie, and it's the same thing with Training Day. Like you mentioned Kevin Costner, like, you can see Kevin Costner playing a bad guy. It's not out of the realm of possibility. You can see that. Even if prior to that point he'd never played a villain, you could see him being a villain.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Denzel has always been like this saint. He's always like playing these innately good people.
Yeah. Now that he comes in and he's playing a villain, not just a villain, but the villain, without a doubt, the villain of the film, it was like a huge shift in like how he was seen. It's like, damn, this dude can act, man. Yeah.
Man. Oh, did you hear that the trailer for Avatar came out?
Yeah, I saw it.
How was it?
I liked the cast, dude. Like, the guy they picked to play Iroh, I know him from that show with Simu Liu. I don't remember the name, but like Kim's Convenience. Yeah. I'm like, damn, they're really...
Gotcha.
Yeah.
I know that... Oh, he's the English Uncle Ayer. That's where it is. So, guys, the other was Mako Nakasaga, the villain. This one is Paul Sun-Hyun Lee. It fits, given that they just repurposed the same guy. Where you can only do that with an old man, because the kids have to be kids.
Yeah.
Maybe Ozai, Actually, let me check. Who voiced Ozai?
Wasn't he Mark Hamill?
I think that was... Who was it?
Wasn't Fire Lord Ozai Mark Hamill?
I think so. It's surprising because Daniel Day Kim was actually in the OG series, but he played a general in the Fire Nation, and now he's Fire Lord.
Yeah, but dude, have you seen him? Have you seen him in full, like, Ozai get up? He looks straight out of the show. Like, damn.
Yeah, he's very good. Yeah, the casting is much better. It's much more true to like the actual show, as opposed to what we got with that 2009 M. Night Shyamalan movie.
Yep. I don't really want to talk about that, man. Like, I think we've said all we really need to say, and there's nothing we can say that hasn't been said by someone else,
It's kind of like, what's this? It's kind of like
on to better things, you know, just there was oh, I will say this about Avatar: The Last Airbender. I saw the trailer on YouTube, and I don't think this hasn't been brought up by anybody, but I saw like one of the first comments was like someone said something horrible, and it was like brought to you by M. Night Shyamalan Dingity Dingity Dog. I'm like, what the fuck? What the hell?
And it sucks too because when you look at Shyamalan, man, his career was really only tainted by that one movie, that one bad movie. He's a good filmmaker. I just think he wasn't suited to take on the tremendous challenge that is this universe and these people. I think he kind of came into it not understanding the weight and importance of getting these things right. And he kind of paid the price.
Yeah. It's just, yeah, his filmography, his best films aren't big movies. They're not these huge blockbuster type deals with A-list actors. They do have A-list actors in them, but they're not big. You know, like, look at The Sixth Sense, and like that movie, like it's very small scale. It's just a story about a kid who can see dead people, and Bruce Willis's character is helping him. That's it. There's no sequel set up. Yeah. But then you look at, I think the worst thing to happen to M. Night Shyamalan was that he became known as the guy whose movies have twists in them. And now he felt like every movie has to have a twist in it somewhere, even if it doesn't.
Oh, yeah. He became like a meme of himself.
Yeah.
He kind of flandered his reputation.
Like, I can understand, like, okay, these couple movies had twists in it, and now people just go in expecting twists. But that doesn't mean you need to deliver on that, dude. Like,
yeah.
People have been saying this for years. Like, it would be more of a twist if there was no twist. Like, just because you go into a Shyamalan movie thinking there's gonna be a twist somewhere, there's gonna be a twist, and there isn't. That's a twist. God damn.
Yeah. I think with Shyamalan, he also has like, I guess, a lowered sense of trust in Hollywood, because they kind of let him. Hollywood let him down a bit.
How so?
I mean?
You say Hollywood let him down. I'm just curious, like, how? What makes you say that?
Think of how many movies he's done since Avatar, and how much of the budget of that he has had to self-finance himself, considering his other movies were also in part majority self-financed. And again, I would say it's mostly down to race, in addition to what he can appeal to studio bigwigs. Because think of studio bigwigs looking at this Indian director, and they're going, well, alright, what can he do? And, oh, okay, so how much does he want? Think of how many directors actually get the budget that they want, and how many don't.
race does play a factor at times, in terms of like the amount of chances you get, especially when you have like a flop to your name, like because like we've said previously with many directors, you're only as good as your last movie, and if your last movie was Avatar, ooh.
Exactly. And you look at a person like Taika Waititi. His career should have died, like, after Green Lantern. Like, no one in Hollywood should have ever given him a chance again.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, man. But just
I think with him, I think Taika also, he is fortunate enough to have a lot of friends in high places. Because how the hell did he get in the MCU? Like, who even recommended him into the MCU? It's such a bewildering choice. It's an inspired choice for sure. But how the fuck did he really get into the MCU? Who even allowed him in the MCU?
it's definitely, you're right, it was a bewildering choice. Even when they like announced, okay, this movie is going to be directed by Taika Waititi, it just felt so, it was so out there because he's not an action movie guy. So yeah. But then again, dude, from the very beginning, the director choices have been kind of out there because Jon Favreau is not an action movie guy, but he did Iron Man 1 and 2.
I think Favreau works because he can tell good stories. It's kind of like him and Jaws. Jaws is a good character guy. He can write good character interactions. And that's why the Avengers had to be held by him, because you have to have these people by the end of the movie look like they actually learned something and they're actually close. Because when you look at anything else like the Justice League, and none of them feel like friends. They're just like, okay, two guys who are forced into this. But like when you look at even like Age of Ultron, these people feel really fleshed out. They feel intentional. It doesn't feel like they're reading a script. It's like they're just there. And that's the beauty of, I mean, yeah, Justice Creed. We know that now. However, apart from that, you really have to look at him as a character guy and him being able to tell good character stories. And it's probably why a person like James Gunn was hired for the DCEU. Because again, James does very good character stories. He's the best version of Whedon, given that Whedon is a creep now and he was a victim of the Me Too movement. Gunn is exactly like him in the sense that he can write impactful characters, stories.
Yeah. Though I do disagree with his statement that Rocket was a secret protagonist throughout the Guardians trilogy. Like, no.
That seems like a pretty
No. Like, come on, dude. Like, I can see you being like, Rocket was the protagonist of Guardians 3. Okay, sure. Absolutely. The story revolves almost entirely around him. Guardians 2, he was a main protagonist, but not the main protagonist, since it was largely about like Quill and Ego. And the first movie was an ensemble movie, so this whole secret protagonist thing you've been like spewing, no. Just no.
Yeah, think of it this way, man. Directors will say anything during a press junket to make you want to see a movie. Think about what Marcus and McFeely said about Cap in Endgame. That, oh yeah, no, Cap's always been in the MCU. He's always been in the sacred timeline. I mean, back then, it wasn't even called the fucking sacred timeline. We didn't even know that it was just the one. It was just like, oh, okay, timelines, time travel, between universes. And then they were like, oh, yeah, technically old man Cap. It was a writers were like, no, that is not the case. He came from another dimension. His father was in it. So I feel like at some point, it'll just take anything to start a movie.
Yeah, they really did try to convince us Cap was always there. Because they pointed out, you remember like the old white dude at Peggy's wedding? I mean, no, her funeral. Yeah, her funeral.
Yeah.
And they were like, see, there he is. Like, no, man. Like,
Yeah. Sucks though. Sucks because now it's like you can't even trust the word of the guys involved. You have to see it for yourself and make your own judgments.
Definitely. It's just, I mean, dude, even Feige himself has been on that receiving end of things, because you remember when he was doing like press for the Eternals and he was hyping them up, and you know it's gonna be like, he said they're like a sign of the phase going forward, and like what have they been doing since then? Nothing. Like, dude.
They're like, they're on Earth, and things are happening on Earth. They say, like, what the fuck? What the fuck? Doesn't make any sense. He even tried at one point to say, oh yeah, well, you know, Captain Marvel's the most powerful person. You can't be 50 without kids, you know, so they plan to do everything. They plan to make him young, meet Lois, go through the stage of his life, like fighting Brainiac, founding the Justice League, beating Batman, fighting Bizarro, possibly other, you know, stories like, okay, I would say Doomsday has to come much later, like a Thanos thing. They still need like Brainiac and Spitlick and the Tinkerer.
I don't know about that though, man.
That history. Cavill's age right now doesn't permit that, given that they were so slow with developing the DCEU. Cavill aged out of the role, like literally.
I don't see. Okay, you mentioned, I mean, I get what you're saying. I don't agree with the idea that Cavill aged out of the role. For the DCEU, he was just right. But for this new universe, okay, I can see how him being there would be too old. But
No, right now he's not too old. He looked phenomenal like the Black Adam. Right now he's in his prime. Physical prime, you know, most men at the prime stage. But in 10 years, he won't be in his prime. And they intend to make stories for 10 more years. That's the issue.
yeah, I grant you, I get that. What I'm saying is, like in the DCEU, had that continued, he was just fine to play Superman. Had they continued as they had initially planned, had they done Man of Steel 2 as they initially planned, it would have been gravy. But in relaunching the universe, I can understand him not fully being there. It does make some sense. I can definitely see that. In regards to the universe as a whole, dude, like there ain't no way you can have characters like Amazo and Guy Gardner and like all that in this one Superman movie if you're not setting up something else down the line. Yeah.
You also, like, even just looking at so I think looking at the DCEU, they played a lot of elements safe because, and this is strange considering that they have all of their characters. Like, they can literally use any character they want. They can use Pitlick. They can use Bizarro. They can use Brainiac. They can use anyone they want. But they played it so safe. So safe. How many main villains have been in the DCEU? Zod, a fake Doomsday, who doesn't even come from Krypton. I mean, he's Zod, but he's not that being created with the sole purpose of destroying Kryptonians. We've only and one true-to-life villain in the DCEU. And one is Zod, the other is Darkseid. And that became because of the Snyder Cut. Steppenwolf isn't a main guy. Ares isn't a main guy. They're all elite backshelf people. No one gives a fuck about them.
I mean, Ares
He's
is...
so safe in 10 years.
I'd say Ares would be B-list more than anything, but okay.
Oh,
Ares, I'd say like Ares was more a B-list villain for Wonder Woman. As a Wonder Woman villain, he works, but like, you know.
he's a better character than he's a villain. Him being surrounded by a plethora of a pantheon makes more sense than him being alone. We should see Zeus. We should see Hercules. We should see everyone, not just him. He can't work on his own. That's the biggest problem. You know? And now, given that this movie, Legacy, intends to have so many characters already established, very much seems like they're going big. They're going bigger than they've ever gone. They intend to have a Green Lantern. They intend to have, like, so many mainstay.
Apologies for the abrupt endings and so on, but episodes seemingly ending midway through conversations and beginning with totally new ones. I had the whole thing saved, and at least I thought I did. I had bits and pieces of it saved. Good thing I saved in bits and pieces because there were large chunks of the conversation that didn't save properly. So yeah, that's why conversations felt unfinished and new ones felt like they started out of nowhere, and that's why the episode just ends abruptly. So apologies for that. Be better next time. This has been Moonlight Kingdom Reviews. I've been your man on the moon. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Peace out.